remember feeling tearful, feeling scared, thinking this just isn't right.
To see a reserve kind of...
Yo, could you imagine going skydiving and your parachute just fails? Even the backup parachute, and on top of that, your husband did it? Yo, she need a blunt. She needs some Mickey Licky, some something. She probably stressed out.
Malfunctioning. I've never seen it before, and it just looked shocking.
On the ground, Vicky's friend, Rob Cams, desperately wants to look away, but can't.
It looked like somebody's chucked a bag of washing out the aircraft. It was just a massive white flapping canopy and quite clearly a body underneath.
Yo, imagine smoking a blunt and you just see a whole human body just coming fast-paced through the sky. Like, what do you do? And then it's your man? I gotta see what he did.
Yeah.
Vicky plummeted to the ground from 4,000 feet in a matter of seconds.
And I sprinted across to where she'd landed. I just had this feeling of like impending doom, like I'm going to be greeted with a corpse.
But instead of a corpse, Rob was greeted with a miracle.
All of a sudden, she did open her mouth and she did start like mumbling, which was a phenomenal feeling.
Vicky doesn't remember the details of the crash, but a freshly ploughed field had cushioned her fall and saved her life. She was seriously injured, but an even greater pain was to come when...
Wait, how did she survive?
But a freshly ploughed field had cushioned her fall.
Oh, the field she landed on. Okay, I'm about to say, cause what?
And saved her life. She was seriously injured. But
what up, YouTube? Shout out to the lad. You clicked the title, you read the page, so I'm gonna just get to the point. Some cheating husband tried to body his wife in the worst way possible. He tried to sabotage her parachute. Let me tell you something. You know why I'm scared of love? Because you can't play with love. You cannot play with love. Some people will love you to death. Literally, they will love you. So if they can't have you, they're gonna take you out. Your own wife? Listen, I say that to say to all my women out there that's like engaging with me and, you know, we're doing this whole dating thing. Listen, I'm not going to marry you if you start showing signs of overly obsessed or like overly in love. Like, I know what you're thinking. How could you be overly in love? It's possible. It's possible. Now, I don't know why on earth would this man want to kill his wife, but at the end of the day, this ain't the first time we heard this. People always want to kill their significant other. What happens in the marriage where divorce ain't enough? You want the person dead. That's what I want to know. All right, so subscribe for the vibe. Let's get to it.
I remember feeling scared, thinking this just isn't right.
plummeting to earth from a kilometre up.
Just looked, somebody's chucked a bag of washing out the aircraft. Shocking.
The frightening parachute accident.
You went to get Victoria parachute?
Yeah.
It was really a sinister crime.
I couldn't understand why my husband would try and kill me.
Are you stupid? That's how you know these people that say things like that. Like, why would he want to kill his husband? Or, well, yeah, you could say that. Or why would he want to kill his wife? Whatever. At the end of the day, you cannot try to figure out the reasons why people are evil. Being evil is unheard of. It's unacceptable. It's not normal, but we see it. Stop worrying about the why and figure out the how you gonna get away from him. He trying to kill you, girl. Like, let's just be real. Are you gonna ask a serial killer why they about to kill you? Oh no, TT, that's a serial killer. They don't love me. That's different from somebody that love me. Are you dumb? It's a thin line between love and hate. A person could love you and hate you just that fast. So it's no different from being your husband, your wife, to a serial killer. All right, let it go over your heads. We'll see.
That's next on 60 Minutes. For the greatest adrenaline rush, Victoria Cilliers used to boast there was nothing better than leaping out of a plane kilometres above the ground.
Yeah, let me just say this, and I'm going to just say this right now. Australian accent is the sexiest accent, period. And I'm not just saying that because most of my subscribers on this channel comes from Australia. No, that's a fact. Like, I want my sperm donor to be Australian. I want my kid to be Australian. Like, no funny shit. Like, damn, I'm obsessed.
In fact, she loved skydiving so much, she'd done it more than 2.5.
She loves skydiving so much. Like, that shit just sound fire. Y'all sleep.
1,000 times. But then the unthinkable happened. On a routine jump, both her main and reserve parachutes failed. At that moment, Vicky expected to die. Miraculously though, she survived the fall. But as she recovered from her substantial injuries, she then received an even bigger shock. What she thought had been a terrible accident was really a sinister crime.
Oh, my, say they got this on video?
It's not known as a death spiral for nothing. It's Easter Sunday, 2015. Toria Cilia's main and reserve parachutes have both failed. The experienced skydiver is hurtling to the ground, fully expecting to die.
I remember feeling tearful, feeling scared, thinking this just isn't right.
To see a reserve kind of
Yo, could you imagine going skydiving and your parachute just fails? Like even the backup parachute, and on top of that, your husband did it. Yo, she need a blunt. She needs some Mickey Licky, some something. She probably stressed out.
malfunctioning. I've never seen it before, and it just looked shocking.
On the ground, Vicky's friend, Rob Camps, desperately wants to look away, but can't.
It looked like somebody's chucked a bag of washing out the aircraft. It was just a massive white flapping canopy and quite clearly a body underneath.
Yo, imagine smoking a blunt and you just see a whole human body just coming fast paced through the sky. Like, what do you do? And then it's your mans? I gotta see what he did.
Vicky plummeted to the ground from 4,000 feet in a matter of seconds.
And I sprinted across to where she'd landed. I just had this feeling of like impending doom, that I am going to be greeted with a corpse.
But instead of a corpse, Rob was greeted with a miracle.
All of a sudden, she did open her mouth, and she did start like mumbling, which was a phenomenal feeling.
Vicky doesn't remember the details of the crash, but a freshly ploughed field had cushioned her fall and saved her life. She was seriously injured, but an even greater pain was to come when...
Wait, how did she survive?
But a freshly ploughed field had cushioned her fall
Oh, the field she landed on. Okay, I'm about to say, cause what?
and saved her life. She was seriously injured, but an even greater pain was to come when she discovered what she'd survived was not an accident. It was a murder attempt by the man she loved. And even more bizarrely, it would be revealed this was the second time he'd tried to kill her in less than a week. Emil Cilias was a sergeant in the British Army. When he met Vicky,
All right. I'm sorry, I don't really be caring about the backstory. I hate that. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to see the backstory, you guys know you can go to 60 Minutes Australia. But TT like to get to the rice and beans.
were seen in the immediate aftermath of Vicky's near-death experience in 2015. The first to notice something unusual was Parachute Club secretary Rob Camps, who had to tell Emil Cilias that Vicky had been seriously injured. The reaction he received was unexpected.
He sounded pretty cool and calm about it. And I said to him, I said, look, Emil, it's not life-threatening injuries. She's quite badly, beat up. I really think that you should go and see her. And he just said, oh, yeah, thanks for letting me know, Rob. Yeah, I'll get down and see her.
You're not a detective, but did that response seem odd?
I mean, certainly if it had been my wife, I don't think I'd have been totally calm and collective and, well, thanks for letting me know. So I suppose looking back, yeah, it does seem a bit strange.
But even more disturbing, some of Vicky's fellow skydivers at the Netheravon airfield near Salisbury in the UK wanted to know how her jump had gone so wrong.
We should be getting the police involved.
And when they inspected Vicky's
Right, like that would have been my wife. I'd have been like, I'm suing. Who is responsible for this? What happened? He ain't asking no questions. He don't even know how to commit things right.
parachutes, what they found shocked them.
I'm gonna stop cameras there now, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
lock this room.
If you've never jumped out of a plane, you might disagree, but skydiving is safer than you think. Parachutes have many fail-safes, including a reserve chute if the main one malfunctions. They also have these slinks, which make it even safer. Unknown to Vicky, in her chute, they'd been removed. Now, only someone with intimate knowledge of how to pack a rig would know how to find them, and that taking them out could end in catastrophe.
Now, I don't believe skydiving is as safe as we think. I don't think it's safe at all, because I watched that movie with Kevin Hart, and the dude, he was parachuting, and he ended up being paralyzed. I think he either landed on his feet wrong, or something happened. So, nope, I ain't never doing that shit. I'm not even gonna do indoor skydiving. What if I land on my nose? Not this face. Nope.
Traffic failure. When you both learned that a woman's fallen 4,000 feet out of the air, did you immediately think this was going to be a sinister murder plot?
No, not at all. I was in the office the day the phone call came in.
Look, no, not at all. See, that's sexy.
We
Sound like I'm Hermione Granger.
had no idea where it was going to lead us or the road we were going to go down with it.
That road would eventually lead Detective Constable Maddie Henner and Detective Inspector Paul Franklin to a dark and twisted investigation. It began with a tip-off from one of Vicky's friends.
And she wanted to talk to me about the relationship between Victoria and her husband, Emil. She said that she was not happy with their relationship, that it was not as perfect as the outside world would perceive it to be, and that if he had been anywhere near the parachute centre when this happened, she would suspect that he had something to do with it.
The tip-off proved to be spot on. Emil Cilliers had been at the parachute centre. In fact, he'd been seen carrying his wife's skydiving gear when he'd taken the couple's infant daughter to the toilet.
Tell me about your relationship with Victoria.
Detectives Henner and Franklin brought Cilliers in for an interview, not expecting too many answers, but he instantly fessed up to living a sordid double life.
So he admitted that he was having an affair. He said that he didn't want to be with his wife, Victoria, anymore, and that he was serious about this woman that he had met.
I've got quite a high sex drive. My wife, Victoria, she's got a very low sex drive.
Talk about spilling his guts. Emil Cilliers not only confessed an affair with this woman, Stephanie Goller, who he'd met on a ski trip a few months earlier. He also admitted that for years he'd been regularly visiting sex workers. And that was just the start. The detectives couldn't believe what they were hearing.
You're talking of sex workers twice a week, you're talking about meeting women on social apps like Tinder and meeting them, going to swinging clubs, and this is every day, this is every week. He's searching for this type of activity.
Bro, you can just divorce her. Like, it's just, yo, I don't understand people's logic.
Why would he just give all that stuff up?
I think he knew it was things that we would find via his mobile phone, his computers, by talking to anybody that knew him. I think it was things that he knew we would find out ultimately.
Police also discovered Emil Cilliers' sex drive came at a price. He was £20,000 in debt. It seems his wife's life insurance was the perfect way to ease his financial pain.
He squandered money, whether it was on sex workers, whether it was on himself, but it meant that he was in debt and he couldn't see a way out of this debt, which I think then became another reason, alongside his girlfriend, that he wanted to move on, and the only way to move on was to negate the debt and come into money somehow, which of course was the life insurance.
That first police interview lasted 6 hours. When it was over,
Nah, 6 hours of snitching go crazy.
Cilliers was allowed to leave, but was banned from going home to his wife. It was Detective Franklin's job to explain why to a very confused Vicky.
We tell her that he's having an affair, that he wants to leave her. And yeah, she made a horrible, it was a heart-wrenching, guttural howl, cry. You know, you see it just literally imploded her world, you know. And to be told it was all effectively based on a tissue of lies, that Emil was just using her.
I was just so angry, let down, betrayed. They felt like he had almost like a separate identity. One that he had with his girlfriend. He had a different phone, he had a different computer, a whole different life. I remember being asked at the end of the interview, you know, can you think of anything else? And just anything that's slightly out of the ordinary that's happened in the last sort of few weeks, few months. And I mentioned briefly about the gas.
It was an innocuous reference to gas, but it became a critical twist in the investigation.
Yo, he probably been trying to take her out for a long time, son.
It turns out Cilliers had tried to kill his wife not once, but twice. Just days before he sabotaged her parachute, he tampered with a gas pipe in the couple's home.
She comes down in the morning on her own, goes into the kitchen, smells a really strong smell of gas. So she texts him and says, look, there's a strong smell of gas in here, there's blood on the lever. And his reply is, have you tried putting a stove on?
Yo, what? What? Yo. How did that red flag go over her head? But then again, people don't think that. But it's like sometimes you got to think the worst of people and it sucks, but damn.
To which he says, no, why would I do that? Too dangerous. But that's his initial reply back to her. I mean, it's as cold as that.
Thank you, bro. Like the common sense. Like if I tell somebody I smell gas and the first thing they tell me is turn the stove on, I'm breaking up with you. Just off the truth, I'm gonna think you just dumb, and I refuse to date somebody dumb. Cause like what? I'm not even gonna think. Okay, you're not gonna think your person's trying to kill you, but I'm gonna think you're dumb, and I just can't date dumb.
It's heinous. So he wanted her to basically blow herself up in the family home.
With the 2 children upstairs in bed, yeah. They'd have been potentially victims as well.
But I couldn't understand why Emil would do that, why my husband would try and kill me. I couldn't compute the fact that someone I'd married said he'd loved me.
And that'd be the problem with people, because people think they're so special. Like, why would my husband try to kill me like husbands ain't been trying to kill their wives, my husband ain't trying to kill their husband? Don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not normal, but it's not unheard of. Don't think that you're above anything. Anything can happen to you at any time. That's why you got to remain humble and question everything.
He could then do sort of the ultimate horrific act, which was take my life away from me, take my life away from the children. I was never just sort of putting it to one side and saying, no, don't be stupid. That's just ridiculous.
By now, detectives Hannah and Franklin had not only collected substantial evidence, they also had a motive. They charged Emil Cilliers with 2 counts of attempted murder and prepared for the court case. How confident were you going into the first trial?
Always optimistic. You have to be.
Nah, they should have been real confident, because that sounds like a slam dunk case. Like, come on, bro.
And we had a good case.
I thought all the evidence was there. It was just how it was put over and what defence was put forward.
But, as you'll see, out of the blue, the case against Emil Cilliers started to crumble, all thanks to the most unlikely source. What brought that first trial crashing down?
Victoria, yeah.
Emil Cilliers arrived at his trial accused of attempting to murder his wife Vicky twice. First by tampering with a gas valve at their home, and then by sabotaging her skydiving parachute,
causing her to fall thousands of feet to the ground.
But at court, the British soldier oozed arrogance. Perhaps he knew the bombshell that was about to come. When the prosecution's star witness, the victim Vicky, took to the stand, her version of events was completely at odds with what she'd originally told detectives Maddie Henner and Paul Franklin.
She stood there and said, the police hadn't listened to her. She didn't mean to say what she said. She wanted to change her statement.
She'd cut away a good parachute.
You must have just been tearing your hair out watching her give evidence.
Yeah, it was a gut punch. It was... You want to scream, you want to shout, you want to ask why, and worst possible scenario, really. I didn't understand. I didn't think she would speak against us.
Whilst I was giving my answers in court, I was very aware of what I was saying. Everything was considered. I was very careful not to give answers that would directly incriminate Emil.
Yo, what? He just tried to body you, and you still gonna defend him? And he tried to body the kids. Come on now. Let me see.
And I was very, very aware that I've got to live with the outcome. I had to deal with the consequences. And even to this day, I'm apprehensive talking about it, because he could watch this. He probably will watch this. And my heart rate's gone up thinking about what his reaction would be.
Vicky Cilliers' about face crippled the case. For many, it didn't make sense, but Detective Constable Maddie Henner saw it as classic coercive control. Emil Cilliers' hold on his wife remained so strong, she was prepared to protect him even after he tried to kill her.
It
Ain't enough love in the world.
showed us the level of control he had over her and still had over her. And I think, personally, I think it's the worst case of coercive control I have ever come across.
Without Vicky's truthful testimony, the jury was unable to reach a unanimous verdict. So, a second trial was ordered, which meant a second chance for the detectives. This time, they knew they couldn't rely on Vicky, so changed tact, revealing to the jury all of Emil Cilliers' dark and controlling secrets.
That's just beyond control. Like, bro, I can't believe she still defended this scumbag.
That included more than 32,000 text messages he and his then mistress, Stephanie Goller, had exchanged.
I love you. To be with you, I would do anything. From April
Yeah, I bet.
onwards, I can do random and spontaneous.
Maddie Henner and Paul Franklin say this text was a clear sign Cilliers expected his wife to be dead by April. But even after she survived the skydiving fall, he didn't let up. As Vicky was recovering in hospital, he continued to rendezvous with sex workers.
You free for 1 hour bareback, now 100 pounds. I'm in the hospital and can come now. Can I film it?
The police were in no doubt about
Yo,
Emil
what a sick man.
Cilliers' evil, but they still had to convince a second jury how he'd tampered with Vicky's parachute. Their theory was he'd done it when he'd taken their daughter to the toilet. And as this police recreation inside the cubicle showed, sabotaging the chute took less than 5 minutes. What was Emil's demeanour like as he was watching and listening to this evidence in court?
He's the most supremely arrogant person you'll ever meet. So relaxed, laid back, chewing gum, trying to chat up one of the female defendants from another case.
His confidence was born out of the fact that Vicky remained on his side, unable to come to terms with the truth that her husband had wanted her dead.
I did feel a lot of the time he believed what he was saying. Even if it wasn't true, he still believed in it. And that made me believe in him as well. And it just felt like I was getting sucked back in.
Even without Vicky's assistance, the mammoth police effort prevailed. Cilliers was found guilty on all charges and given a life sentence in prison. Detectives Henner and Franklin were relieved and over.
Good, man. W case, man, because they almost blew it. Subscribe for the vibe. I'm out.